English literature spans over 1500 years from warrior poetry carved into Old English to the experimental novels of the 21st century. If you are preparing for UGC NET or simply want to understand literature deeply, knowing the periods is your foundation. Welcome to Tales of Knowledge. In this video, we are going to travel through the entire history of English literature, period by period, in just 10 minutes. Think of this as your literary map. Every future video on this channel will connect back to what you learned today. Let's begin. First, we are going to discuss means you are going to ask several questions and your doubts through comments. We are going to reply for that. So we are going to start with period 1, which means Old English period, and also it called as Anglo-Saxon period. It covers 450 to 1066. We start around 450 AD when Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxon and Jutes invades Britain and brought their language with them. The language, Old English, sounds almost nothing like modern English. The greatest work of this period is Beowulf, an epic poem about a warrior hero who battles the monster Grendel. It is the oldest surviving major work in English literature. And we are going to mention some key features and some other works related to this period in our slides. If you want to note that, you can use that slides to note your points. And we are going to start with period 2 now. This is called Middle English period. It covers 1066 to 1485. After 1066, English literature observed French and Latin influences. The language transformed into Middle English, still difficult to understand and read, but recognizable. The towering figure of this period is Geoffrey Chaucer. We all know about him because we are learning many things related to Geoffrey Chaucer, and he is called as a father of English literature and father of English poetry. His masterpiece, The Canterbury Tales, is a collection of stories told by pilgrims traveling to Canterbury, and it covers many values, which is humorous and religious. In this traveling time, they are talking about many values and they are sharing their knowledge related to religious and also related to their lifestyle. And also we have mentioned this period works and important things in our slides. If you want that, you can take it as a notes. Now we are going to discuss about period 3, that is called the Renaissance period. It covers 1485 to 1625. Renaissance means rebirth, and this is exactly what happened. Europe discovered the classic text and the ancient Greece and Roman, and a new spirit of humanism, placing man at the center of the universe, transformed art, science, and literature. In English literature, the Renaissance produced the greatest flowering of drama and poetry the world has ever seen. When I mentioned as drama, you people came to know about, we are going to talk about the great writer William Shakespeare. The dominant figure is William Shakespeare in this period. He is a playwright, poet, and the greatest writer in English language. His plays Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear, and many things studied everywhere in the world today. And we have mentioned other works of this particular period, and we are going to move on to the next period. Now we are going to see about period 4, the Puritan Age or the Age of Milton. It covers 1625 to 1660. After the Renaissance, England went through enormous political and religious upheaval. The Civil War, the execution of King Charles I, and the rise of Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans reshaped society. The Puritans closed the theatres, they saw drama as immortal, so poetry became the dominant form. The one great name of this age is John Milton. Yeah, you know about him very well. He is the author of Paradise Lost. And the greatest epic in this English language is obviously Paradise Lost. Milton himself is a Puritan and he is deeply religious politically radical and extraordinarily learned. And in this period, we came to know about that they are completely avoided entertainment part. They didn't even wear colorful dresses. And we have mentioned the other works by Milton and the key features of this period in our slides. You can take notes. Now we are going to see about the Restoration Age. It covers 1660 to 1700. In 1660, the monarchy was restored. King Charles II returned to England from exile in France. With him came French culture, wit, and the spirit of pleasure after years of Puritan rule. The theatres reopened, women were allowed to act on stage for the first time, literature became satirical and morally relaxed. We have mentioned the key features and some other works related to this period. You can take notes. Now we are going to move on to period 6, the Augustan or Neoclassical Age. It covers 1700 to 1745. This age is called Augustan because writers consciously modeled themselves on the Roman writers of Emperor Augustus' time. In this period, we can understand that many writings were completely focusing on satirical part. The dominant form was this period is obviously satire because many popular writings were emerged in this particular period only. And we have mentioned some things related to this period. You can take notes. Now we are going to move on to period 7, the Age of Sensibility. It covers 1745 to 1785. As neoclassical reason dominated, a counter movement began quietly. In this period, they started valuing feelings, emotion, and individual experience over cold reasons. We have mentioned key figures and key features of this particular period in our slides. We can take notes, obviously. Now we are going to move on to period 8, the Romantic Age. It covers 1785 to 1830. The Romantic Age is the one of the most beloved period in English literature. It's an exploration of imagination, emotion, nature, and rebellion against industrial society. It is divided into two generations, first generation romantics and second generation romantics. We have mentioned that writers in our slides. We can take notes. Now we are going to move on to period 9, the Victorian Age. It covers 1830 to 1901. The Victorian Age is named after Queen Victoria, who reigned from 1837 to 1901. Britain was the world's greatest empire, but alongside prosperity came poverty, inequality, and deep social questions. Literature responded. The novel became the dominant form, addressing social problems directly. We have mentioned some novelists and poets and the key features of this particular period. Now we are going to move on to the modern age. It is the period 10 and it covers 1901 to 1945. The 20th century opened with two world wars that shattered confidence in progress, reason, and tradition. Literature responded with modernism, a radical break from the past. We have mentioned key features of modernism and figures of this particular period. Now we are going to move on to period 11, the postmodern age. It covers 1945 to present age. After World War II, literature entered the postmodern era, questioning everything truth, reality, authorship, grand narratives like that. We have mentioned key features and key figures of this particular period, and also we know some Indian writers became globally significant like R.K. Narayan, Arundhati Roy, Vikram Seth. All these writers came under postmodernism. In this video, we talked about the entire journey of English literature from the Old English period to present. It's just a gist of the journey of English literature from old age to the present. And if you want to know about the particular period more, you can comment in this video and definitely we will respond for that. And we will post a lot of videos after this, and we want you to stay tuned with us to learn more. Thank you so much for watching us.